Testing, test. Okay, there we go. See what the. Yeah. Anyway, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the den, right? Because I don't know what's been going on. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why. Let me turn that down a little bit. That should be. Let me know if it's still too loud. Um, I don't know why. I'm sitting here. I click the button and don't get me started. It's a bunch of shit. That's why I say I try to do one thing at a time. But I was trying to transfer some old stuff over from the old setup I used to use. Well, last time I was streaming, and and so I was setting up a bunch of settings and everything like that, and yeah, it just reset everything. Like it reset everything. See, I forgot the damn thing. Like some of the like just like some of the little plugins and shit that you like, it all they just disappeared. Like just crazy stuff. And I did this hours ago, right? That I had everything set up just fine. Everything's working fine. Then you just start doing some little janky stuff. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And just it's been one of those days because I was actually going to do a different topic. You can barely hear it. All right, let me see. Like I say, because on my end it seems super like it's crazy on my end, so I don't know how it is on y'all's end. Y'all let me know because my settings are going to say something probably different, and then it's going to look a little bit different on that end. Anyway, yeah, and I'm still trying to figure out this little new device that I got, and I've been trying to change some shit up with that. And yeah. Anywho, oh, we're gonna talk about the four Fs, right? And it's been super funny because I've been mentioning the four Fs of dealing with females for the last few days, right? And I've had various people reach out, attempt to guess, inquire, and have input on what the four Fs could possibly be. Now, if you know me, the four Fs should not be a surprise to anybody. I need some gummy bears, and I need a flipping pen. A fucking pen is okay. Give me just a minute. First, let's see who all got joining us this evening. That was a great conversation. And diddly daddly diddly do. Let's see. I gotta fix the IG thing. I don't even know if the IG is on. Make sure you're in live chat, not top chat, because I was in live chat, then it swung back again. And I'm mad because the thing is still saying go live, but I was live. It's just it'll get right. That's what I say. That's why I have to get into the rhythm because things are just even when I try to take it easy, things just get a little cheesy. Do. I don't want that on. I don't want this on. We can actually close this out. And voulez-vous say avec moi? I don't even know how you say it. But anyway, I'm your host, Ed Honcho. This is The Den. Make sure you're following on all the proper social media channels. You can find on Instagram at Ed Honcho HTX, EDHONCHO HTX. Den Show Live, DENSHOWLIVE. I don't know if I have any other social medias. I think The Den Show Live is still on X, Twitter, whatever, but I haven't been using it. I'm not going to dive back into the social stuff real heavy until maybe next week. I'm trying to get all the basic stream stuff together first. So apparently I had to get back to the drawing board today, and it's fine, right? It's fine. Those of you who are sauce participants, people who like the sauce, I know you're like, this nigga been lying, this nigga been saying he's gonna do the sauce every day. I sent proof to someone that I have been working on the sauce. So hopefully tomorrow, right? Hopefully, hopefully tomorrow. Wise, what's the motherfucking deal? Good to see you. Shout out to everybody who's been asking that. So I got everything set up, but like I said, moving these plugins and switching shit over, then like I said, new setup. Well, so whatever. Yeah, anyway, but so sauce will be coming back. People have been asking, nigga, fuck the den, nigga. I want some motherfucking sauce, nigga. I want to talk about these motherfucking Texas, nigga. I want to talk about these niggas fucking up. But we'll get to that. So, like I said, let's see who we got joining us, and then let's get into a great conversation, man. I hope everybody is doing well. I hope everybody is getting all the blessings that each and every one of you deserve. And I thank you for being here this evening. So, the lovely Miss K Grace joining us this evening. Always good to see the Lady Grace. Professor Trill, that nigga from Port Arthur, I don't know about to give a fuck. It's the birthday bell. The bell has rung. Happy birthday, Miss Bell. The lovely Miss Sarah Lou, aka the secretary of the Den. Always good to see you in. Let's see. I see Jabari, mayo, not mustard. Who killed General Custard? 335. Peace. Always good to see my guy 335. Let's see. Let's see. I seen the wise man. Shout out to the wise man. Look, man, y'all. Here's the thing. I know not all of you not sports people and all that, but I've been thinking about this like the last while, even though I've been off. Like I say, caught a couple of Rockets games. That nigga Wise makes the most accurate predictions out of anybody. Like Wise called it before before like we had half the motherfuckers we have on the roster that the Rockets would be in the position that they're in right now. So shout out to the wise man. The wise man knows. Broderick's here. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Broderick. You know, it's him. All right, give me just a second. Let me get my pen, and then we finna get it in. We're gonna talk about the 4 F's of dealing with females, and I'm gonna be honest. Depending on your perspective, it might be more than 4 F's. It may be 5. It may be as many as 8 F's. Right? It may be a fucking report card full of F's when it comes down to it. But I'm going to stick with my original 4 and possibly 5th. And you're saying, well, what do you mean when dealing with females, Honcho? I'll explain all of that. I will get into all of that once I get my pen so I can take notes in the handy dandy notebook. And then we will go from there. All right. I'm taking the wrong shit. There we go. And if you're on the gram, let me make sure. I don't think anybody is watching on the gram. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like nobody came in on the gram. All right, cool. All right. The gram, I don't even know what's going on with that. I'm going to have to keep tweaking it. I really don't like how it goes. And I need to figure out how I can do both of the, I'm going to work on that maybe Saturday as far as getting the vertical and the horizontal going at the same time. Matter of fact, I think I might just cut off the gram because ain't nobody on there no way. Shit. Bring y'all ass to the goddamn, whatchamacallit. Let's end the gram because that's just a bunch of real estate on the screen that we don't need. Yeah, stop that. And I can close that window. All right, cool. All right, let me get my pen. We finna get it in. So I hope y'all got y'all a nice adult beverage. I didn't get me one. I should have got drinking me some water tonight. And we're gonna talk about some things. I expect calls this evening, right? I expect calls. I don't believe, but by a trans. Where'd you hear this? Where'd you hear this statement? I will have to talk about that. Aaron the plumber. I need to do a whole episode on Aaron the plumber because Aaron the plumber has changed the game, and I don't think people realize how much so. But give me just a second. All right, all right, all right. I got mine. I got my gummy bears. I got my favorite pen. Let's get it in. Right. If you y'all know me, well, nobody would dare pay me to promote their product. It was to be so much backlash. But I can only share with y'all shit I really fuck with. Right. And if y'all are not fucking with the Albanese gummy bears, you fucking with the wrong gummy bears. They are the best gummy bears. Gummy bears, gummy worms, whatever you may want to call it. Oh, I can't do that right now. Son of a bitch. I didn't set that up. All right, cool. All right, anyway, we'll get things going. Like I say, it's going to get more interactive. It's going to get a trans named Cat Dog. I don't think I even want to know. But again, I told y'all, man, when it comes to them trannies, man, look, OG told me. OG told me, I've told y'all this, I've said it multiple times in the DN over the course of years, right? On the course of multiple years, that you don't fight a meth head and you don't fight a tranny, right? Why? Because one, you're fighting a man with the passion of a woman. And it's gonna be, you're gonna be in for a long haul. Cause you see them them motherfuckers. Come on, I'm not even gonna get into it, but we'll get to the 4 F's of females, not trannies. And then you don't fight a meth head because you know, motherfuckers got like unlimited energy. Like the motherfuckers got energy for like days upon days. You know what I'm saying? So shit. Delta Echo Golf, what's the motherfucking deal? Right? Oh, all right. So first, let me explain the context. Right, when I say of dealing with females, and I'm talking about the modern man, right? Because relationships obviously have become completely transactional, right? There is no love anymore. We like to preach it and we like to say, oh, it's gonna have this fairy tale happy ending. It's not that. Women don't want the fairy tale happy ending. They want a fairy tale wedding so everybody can give them a bunch of fucking to tell. Like that's women seek power. What's the motherfucking deal? Women want attention more than anything. Women want money and attention more than they don't want marriage. They don't want a man, but they want a man to protect them when things go sour. But let's get into it before I go into a whole bash session. I don't intend to do that, but this is what's happened, right? Time traveling Texan. What's the motherfucking deal? Um. So what I'm saying is that it's like this, right? There are four F's that a man should consider. And they can be individual. Some of these F's can kind of overlap. One of them probably shouldn't. It might be a little weird. But again, like I said, it could be as many as 5. It could be as many as 8, depending on who you're talking to, right? Yeah, you definitely don't want to get knocked out by. Oh man, hell no, you don't get knocked out by a tranny. You in a bad situation, Jack. So I didn't know this. Somebody shared this with me before the stream, right? And they're not here, so I'm not going to give them any credit. Otherwise, I would. I'm not going to give them any credit. But they sent this to me, and so there was another woman who said that these are the 4 F's that men are looking for when dating a woman. And the context is different because I'm talking about dating versus dealing with, right? Because again, I said it's become transactional. It's not, and we're talking about trannies, the transformed. The transformed wife tells you that there is a janky history behind all that. Again, I don't know this person. Like, again, this was sent to me. I need to fix the little chat thing too, but I guess I could do that while we're talking. Men are looking for the 4 F's. And this thing pops up right in front of it. Men are looking for the 4 F's from women: fit, feminine, friendly, and faithful. Fit, the best shape you can be in. Feminine, acts and dress, axes. She acts like and dresses like a woman, not a man. Friendly, kind, amicable, warm, not hostile. Faithful, committed for life to God and husband, speaks no evil of him. So these are all very ideal concepts, right? And you would think that this is something that shouldn't be difficult. You would think that this would be the basis of a solid relationship, but this is absolutely not the case, okay? Women these days, especially certain women out of certain groups, and I'm not bashing, but you know this is true, put themselves over man and over God, right? Because they call themselves goddesses. So if they're a goddess, do you think they worship or give a damn about a god? Right? I would say no. And this is in 2021. Or you have, especially a man. I saw something the other day. What is it? Women are talking about that women don't really need men to procreate, right? I forgot the term. There's a term for it, but it's never happened. And the one time it did happen, it was still like a weird birth defect thing. So then they're claiming that men don't men don't seed the eggs, they just fertilize them, which is the dumbest shit that I've heard, right? So again, you're not seeing men going out and saying these crazy things about women. They're talking about the behavior that you actually see from women. Women are making these crazy statements about men that are scientifically, biologically false, right? So, so let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about her 4 F's, then I'll get into my 4 F's, right? Because her 4 F's don't necessarily cross my 4 F's, because again, the context and what I'm speaking on versus what they're talking about is quite different. So men are looking for the 4 F's from women, right? If you are looking to be married, you're looking for marriage, you are looking for these things, right? Fit. If you talk about a woman's health condition, not even health condition, you talk about her visual appearance, right? These days, you've become all kind of misogynist. You've become a fat shamer. You've become a body shamer. You've become just the worst person ever. But ultimately, fitness represents a couple of things, right? It represents your ability to bear children, if that's what a man is seeking. If I'm wanting you to have my child, I want to know that you are healthy enough to have my child. I want to know that, you practice activities that will bear me healthy children. You know, things happen that are unfortunate. And I think that a lot of them are preventable, but we live in a society where certain behaviors are encouraged. So that's why you're starting to see a lot more birth defects. You're starting to see a lot more skewed things. And somebody brought something up. It was a video I saw. I wish I'd have saved it and put it along with this. But they were talking about, you know, millennials basically being the test tube babies. What's the word I'm looking for? Guinea pigs, right? Because that's when you start to see the influx of birth control being pushed. And then the residual effects of birth control is why most women now are on some type of anxiety medicine. They're on some type of psychotic medicine or whatever you want to call it. But they talked about the difference between babies who are born vaginally and babies who are C-section babies, right? And I never thought about it. I never thought about it, because I feel like every outcome or every action has, an outcome. And so they were talking about how that babies who are C-section babies tend to be a lot unhealthier than babies who were born vaginally, right? That's a possibility. I know some C-section babies, some women that see, but they probably weren't living the healthiest lifestyles to begin with. So you want to be fit because that fitness matters because you want a woman who's going to bear you healthy children. Or even if you don't want that, you may want to get out and do things. You want to know that, hey, if we want to go on an adventure, we want to get out and do activities or things of that nature, I want you to be able and capable of doing it. I don't want to sit around at the bar getting wasted, all day. Well, maybe you do, depending on what kind of man you are, right? And these don't apply to everybody. They don't apply to every man. This other one. Feminine, right? And it's super funny because the feminine thing. Because you tell a woman about femininity and she'll call you all kind of names these days. And then she'll probably call you gay. But then why would you want a masculine woman? You call a woman masculine. They get all mad. You don't know what a woman is and, all this other crazy stuff. We can go down that road. We're not going to spend too much time on it because I want to get to my 4Fs. My 4Fs are way better than these. But you want a feminine woman, right? If you're out in the world doing what you got to do, you work, you're dealing with life on a day-to-day basis, risking life and limb. You want to come home to peace in your castle, right? You don't want to come home to battling in the streets and then having to come home and battle in your own home, right? It's not worthwhile. It's not beneficial. But some people love it. Some people love chaos, right? There's a lot of women who were born in chaos who love to create chaos, and they can't be comfortable without chaos. They cannot operate without causing some type of uproar in people's lives because there's an uproar going on in their head at all times. So it's over, right? So you do want a feminine woman, right? You do want her to be ladylike. You don't want her wearing your jeans and shoes all the time. Don't get me wrong, right? I know some people like their chick to match the shoes and do all that. And it's cool if that's what you're into. But on occasion, I want your bride to be able to wear some heels, look nice, look attractive. You want to see the sundress. You know what I'm saying? You want to see those type of things. Again, you don't want to wear fucking cargo pants all day, right? While she's driving her Subaru around. Friendly. Now, friendly, I think you're going to get some people who may debate on that because they be like, well, shit, if the bitch friendly, she going to be friendly with all the niggas. I don't want the bitch being friendly with all the niggas. You need to be friendly with me. I teach my bitch to be tough. And I can see that, right? But again, if you host, you have company, you go out in public. I'd rather my bitch be amicable than be fucking trying to start a fight everywhere you go. And a lot of us know, especially a certain group, a certain demographic of us, males, know that dealing with women in our particular demographic, they tend to cause more chaos and uproar. I'll tell you, more than 3 I will not be. I don't go to events based on particular demographics because the likelihood of some type of drama going down unnecessarily is exponential because you see it everywhere. At places you would think that nobody would get into an argument, altercation, or a fight. You would see, I saw a Glorilla concert. That's woman empowerment music, right? Yes, exactly. My shirt. Oh, we're not going to go down that road. Oh, that'll be a whole different conversation this evening. But Glorilla concert, she's pro woman empowerment. She's a super manly little bitch. But you got bitches fighting all. She had to stop the concert because bitches just fighting all in the crowd. Women expect men to like the modern women, the modern woman. And the modern woman doesn't even like the modern woman. So, I mean, how does that work, right? And the last F she has is faithful. You would think that that would just be a simple thing. But you will find women who will argue this point. Just because I'm married, I'm not your slave. That doesn't stop me from being able to. And it's just, it's it's ridiculous. Like there are people who expect to still get the same treatment as women of the past, which I felt like were greater generations of women as a whole in total, but don't want to engage in any of those behaviors, but yet they still feel like they're due those behaviors. And I think that's just a wild mentality, right? It's an extremely crazy mentality to me, but for whatever reason, it's extremely prevalent. You have women now who say that cooking and cleaning is slavery. Like, bitch, don't you eat? Do you not eat for yourself? Right? Or cooking for a man is slavery, but you'll have children from Billy Bob to Pookie Bear. And you have to cook for those kids, don't you? Speaking of cooking, have y'all seen the thing that they're talking about in Texas? They're talking about making it to where you can't get like the sugary snacks and all the bullshit on the EBT anymore, which I think is awesome. Awesome. I mean, I think that would be great. But the kids, the EBT kids, are the fattest kids because their parents, their moms can't cook. They go get everything out the fucking the frozen food section, throw it in the fucking microwave. They don't make healthy meals anymore, right? And it's sad because I feel bad for those kids. They never get a good start because you know that shitty food. They don't produce, or it doesn't help them produce. Look, I must have been eating shitty food. I can't remember shit this evening. But like I said, it stunts their growth, right? You're not getting the vital nutrients. You're not getting the brain development. You're not getting the overall health development. You bring these little chunky fat, like you're bringing these kids up and they're obese from birth. They never get a chance at life, and then they grow up complaining and saying that you know it's obesity is racism. It's because when we do diets like the other women, oh, the diets are racist too. Like what, bitch? Like this shit doesn't make no sense, right? It makes absolutely no sense. But I do hope that that does happen. um, so what was that? What was that? Faithful. Oh yeah, and you would think faithful would just go with the relationship, but nowadays, if you're not, what is the saying? If I ain't married, I ain't in a relationship. You'll say you have a boyfriend, you'll say you have a man, you'll say you have all that. But if he ain't put a ring on it, like how do you expect to make it to wife status without ever behaving like a wife, right? It's weird. Anyway. So that's the context of those four F's. And the person who did share that with me actually showed up. So I guess I'll give I guess I guess I'll give her credit. Heidi shared this with me. I didn't know she could read, but she will read in English at least. But she can. Heidi might be the transform wife. She might be behind an AI account or something. Anywho, shout out to Heidi. It's always good to see you. So, oh, that's what's up. See, yeah, like I mean, think about it. Before everything was so overdeveloped, like the wife had to be so many things. Like the wife's role in the home was so much more back then. But the women who had that skill set, they appreciated, they were valued, right? Of course, she was the doctor, she was the cook, right? She kept the house immaculate. She was the first teacher of the children. She instilled standards in the kids. Now the kids ain't shit. Right, the kids ain't shit. Like I could tell you so many stories of why these kids. Did you see the story? I think I was talking about the other day. The three girls who they got attempted murder charges. I want to say it was here in Houston for trying to kill their mama because she cut off the Wi-Fi. This is where these kids care more about the internet. They care more about impressing people who don't give a fuck about them. They care more about looking this image in this role and dealing with motherfuckers who are just unrealistic. And they care about the people who raised them, who nurture them, who support them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Wouldn't believe it. I ain't see it myself. But anywho, let's get into the four F's, right? So before I put out my four F's, I would like, and some of you may have kind of touched on it, may have kind of touched on it, but I don't think anybody's hit quite the mark because, again, like I say, the context of what I'm talking about. Devontae, what's the motherfucking deal? So, what do you guys think the four F's? If you were to drop four F's, your four things that the modern man should consider when dealing with women, right? And let me give you a better premise. I'm not even saying that he's dealing with a woman looking for marriage. I'm not even saying that. Just encountering and dealing with women, period. But the things that I've already kind of briefly touched on. What do you think the four F's, possible five, up to up to seven at this point, because there've been so many other inclusions of people. I was like, hey, I could have put that in there too, right? Exactly. Important shit, things that were valuable, life-saving shit. You know what I mean? Like, now these women say those same activities are slavery. But yet you're going to go to a job and submit to people you don't like. You sit around coworkers you don't like, instead of having the ability to raise a family that you put your own imprint on. And, you get to watch, grow, develop, and put out into the world and say, man, I did that. Have you ever seen those photos with like the matriarch of the family? And, there's 3 or 4 generations under her. And under those 3 or 4 generations, I'm glad Miss Meat wasn't here for the early part, because she's probably been here arguing with me. But that's good. We'll get into it. I'm sure she'll be ready to argue what I'm going to say here shortly. But you would see the photo of the matriarch, and you would see how proud she would look. And it would just be generations, her children, and then her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren. And it's a beautiful thing, right? It's a wonderful thing. But they never gave Grandma any gummy bears. But anyway, I promise it's going to be my last bag. I'm finna get back in shape on y'all. Now that I'm back on the camera, I can't be looking all sloppy. I gotta tighten up. But it's a beautiful thing. Now women look at that and they say, I've seen women making videos about giving your job more time and concern than your own children. It's slavery, or it's a man's fault that this, and this happened. Like, but you'll go to work for that same man, and we'll talk about that as well. But having one, or being compatible with a man that you feel is on equal footing, maybe slightly above or slightly below, is terrible stuff, right? That's how they look at it. So, would anybody like to guess that nigga Chicago Mike? Would anybody like to guess? Would anybody like to guess the 4 F's, or like to guess their 4 F's? Oh man. Man, shout out to Devontae. I'm glad to hear the positive aspect of that. But I understand it. And I think that people don't really take into effect the burdens that weigh men down, right? And not to keep pushing the gender war, but women have their own things, but I don't think that the burden is understood, especially a man with a family, a wife, and things like that. And especially depending on the life that you've been through, the things that you've dealt with, just it can be a real heavy thing. So I'm glad to see you, brother, and I'm glad to know that you pushed through that. So shout out to you. I'm glad to see you. Oh wow. Oh wow. I'm sorry to hear that. And that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying in a situation like, and I'm not to put my finger in the wound or anything, but that situation happens a lot more often than you want to believe, right? I cook, I clean, I cook, excuse me, I clean, cook, wash, and screw my hubby. I know how to keep a man. Screw him over. Like, y'all seen the broads trying to do that? Now you're starting to see the ones, I don't want to work anymore. Working is terrible. I got 13 degrees in sociology and I can't find a job. I'm working at fucking SubHub. Shout out to people who watch American Dad. But what people don't realize is, again, it's a hard deal, because ultimately a woman can go do anything. She can be, she can commit infidelity. Of course, don't care. Pay that woman alimony. She can have an outside kid, have a whole other things going on. Doesn't matter. It's the man's fault, right? When it comes down to it, marriage is a risk for the man, right? Marriage is a heavy burden for the man because you're committing to giving her your name, to protect this person. And like I said, the modern marriage, the modern woman, the modern things going on, you're not getting an ROI on that because I could tell you some stories, I could tell you some things. And and this is not just black women, most women are married to men that they're not even attracted to. Right? So at least what's the motherfucking deal? Most women are married to men. If you if y'all knew what I knew, without me saying too much, there's a lot of women who are disgusted at the idea of having sex with their husbands. Disgusted makes them almost physically ill. Right? I think I need to change my perspective on the subject if I'm agreeing with Ms. Meat. I need to change my whole view on it, right? So I see fake fun, fuck fight. I don't care if the bitch is fun. I'm fun. Fun, faithful, fit. Financial, faithful, friendship, functional, emotion. That's actually emotionally functional is good. Well, and maybe I've worded it poorly, right? Because in a sense, I'm not even talking about traits that you look for in a woman. I think that these are the four F's. If you're dealing with a woman, if you're giving a woman any of your time, energy, or effort, you know what I'm saying? Any of your time, energy, or effort, that it should only be under these four, possibly five conditions. And when I say these things, it may come across as callous. Some people may say, "Oh, Honcho, you're wrong." It's all good, whether you agree or disagree. I'm gonna open up the line. I'm not gonna talk all day today, right? I'm gonna try to make it the first hour. Then we'll take some calls. We'll put like a 10-minute rule on the calls. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. Depending on how active the line is. I still ain't done the queue, so I need to do that. Let me write that down. In fact, let me put that in here. That would make more sense. So the way I look at it, from my own personal experiences to what I've realized in life, and again, it's not worth it. It's most of these broads, and with most of these broads, it's not worth it. And what women do, and I've told y'all this before, the real major difference between men and women, when we have these conversations, and why that there's not you would think that there would be a mutual ground, is that we approach these conversations differently. We're speaking on generalizations, we're having general conversations, but women's greatest difficulty is to remove themselves from a general conversation. So when you say something, they're automatically putting themselves in the position of you're talking about me, right? I can say, man, women ain't shit. It could be a woman who's faithful been faithful her whole life, never done nothing, never deviated. And I could be talking about women who are cheating. I can name 32 of them. Well, not me. Not me. I would never do that. It's like, I'm not talking about you. We're having a general conversation. So, and if y'all don't know I got to put that other thing up because I found my old little screen. Y'all know in the den, when we speak in generalizations, right? This is what we're talking about. So don't make the conversation all personal when y'all do call in or do talk. Well, me. We're talking about each other, right? Or we're talking about people as a whole. Because that's what happens. And then the conversation is not the same. Now we're having a conversation about you, which is not the fun conversation I want to have. We're having a conversation about women, or we're having a conversation about men, or we're having a conversation about people in general and puppy dogs. But once the conversation becomes personal, like that's not a conversation we have. Like, I don't know you like that, or it alters the dimensions of the conversation, and then it makes it difficult to have a legitimate debate or a legitimate discussion because now you've personalized it. So let's just make sure we get that out of there. But here's the thing, Heidi. You know why? One, we've done several shows about what men need to do, but you know why? What happens when the what men need to do shows? Everybody's in agreement. No one disagrees, so there's no show to have. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Uh, oh, well, see, everything that you stated, yeah, Discord is still a thing. Everything that you're saying is modern women nowadays. Like that's the thing. There's no distinction in what you're saying about men and women nowadays. Women are much more devious when it comes to the adult entertainment because they they carry theirs out of public. Women blatantly examine adult activities in public, right? You're out there working on a treadmill at your local fitness connection, reading 50 Shades of Grey. That's a fucking porno book, right? Or the werewolf millionaire who plowed me. You know what I'm saying? Like weird shit. Women like animalistic, weird ass shit. And they read it in public. They talk about it. They have book clubs about it. You've never had a conversation. The dudes ain't never going to be, hey, look, let me tell you about this flick I see. So let's discuss it in a group and talk about it. You go watch it. I'm going to go watch it. Let's all watch it. And then next week, we're going to talk about it. And then let's get online and talk about it. Like you got niggas who are going to talk about, I seen this, but it's not going to be, it made me feel like this. It stimulated me. I was aroused. Like, that is what the fuck is going on. Yes, they are. Maybe you're not, Miss Meat. Women do it all the time, especially white women. I know plenty of women, right? Because I've had these discussions, but I know plenty of women who engage in these book readings, these things. Who the fuck? It wasn't the gays. The gay. I can't even blame the gays on this. The gays weren't reading 50 Shades of Grey. They were reading 50 Shades of Gay, right? Straight men weren't reading 50 Shades of Grey. The theater was not sold out with men anticipating seeing Christian Grey, right? So who did it? Who was it? It wasn't men. Women like this type of stuff. Women live in ideas. Women like the ideas of a man, and once a man shows them reality, they fall out of love. Like that's why I say when a man goes through real shit and he has to deal with pain and emotion, and a woman sees that man go through that pain, whether he cries, whether he, even laments certain things or whatever, he's no longer that superhero. She falls out of love and she's looking for an idea. Women will go and date certain niggas because they're seeking adventure and this idea, because women can't entertain themselves. They can't entertain themselves in reality. And so this is why they like the weird shit that they like, right? This is not male behavior. Men understand reality. They understand the consequences of the behavior of reality, and they don't do it, right? That's why women want to date these gangsters and thugs, and then they end up offed. It's their own fucking fault. Like, I don't feel bad. I saw some shit the other day. Bitch used to date a crazy ass nigga. You knew he was crazy. You liked it because it made you feel exhilarated. It made you feel stimulated. And then when that nigga pops you in the motherfucking face in the parking lot, everybody's, oh, what was her? No, that bitch was dumb. I don't give a shit about that dumb bitch. She put herself in that fucking situation, right? Or when things go wrong, anyway, I'm going to go on. Well, I'm going to go way down the motherfucking thing. Oh, when you call in and argue, I'll argue with you. If you want to argue, or I'll let you tell your side of the story. But again, I talk to them. I talk to women all the time, right? And I talk to various types of women, and that's why I know the things that I'm saying is it's not far-fetched. It's not crazy. This is how it is. So my 4 F's of dealing with modern women. This has nothing to do with love. This has nothing to do with marriage. This isn't Al Bundy and Peggy. If you're a man in modern society, to hedge your bets when dealing with modern women, there are 4 F's that you must consider. And if she's not displaying any one of these 4 F's, you need to leave her alone. Okay? So I'm not going to put them in any particular order. Right? And I said some of these things can cross over. Some of them have a little bit more weight than the others. What? Oh, goodness. Good. And then, and not to, like I say, not to plug the finger, but like Devontae said, toys, the rose. We talked about the rose the other day. You don't see men out here talking about, look, let me tell you about this goddamn pocket pussy. Brother, you got to get you one. I read my book, I get out of my pocket pussy, and I just go to town. The bitches will sit here. And brag about the rose, right? I don't know how many women are in here right now, but the statistics say that 42% of you have a rose. easily, right? Now I'm gonna say maybe the generation matters, but you heard of bitches like it was a bitch talking about how she burnt her shit out because of the rose. Bitches now don't have any kind of clitoral stimulation because they're burning their shit out using this fucking rose toy. You don't see dudes getting in the tub, turning on the fucking faucet, and throwing their dick under the faucet. Like, oh yeah, getting. That's a woman thing. Women in the fucking pool, in the fucking hot tub, blowing jets up all in their coochie, right? Oh no, not a real rose. That other rose, right? And again, cool beans. I'm not knocking it. Hey, I like a little bit of a wild bitch. I'm not mad about it. But you going out and bragging about it, like, think about it. Who is keeping the sex shops in business? Man, I don't know if I sent it to you. I don't know if I sent it to Trill. I think I did. I think I might have sent it to you. It was two white chicks sitting in there in like a picture they were sitting, and then behind it you see this fucking big double fisted rubber arm. One of the fucking hands like this or something, the other one's in a fucking like, and then these will be the same bras who'll talk about, oh, men can't please me. Bitch, you done blew your shit out. You're sticking fists up your fucking coochie. Like, who wants to even try to please that? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, motherfuckers don't realize. That's what motherfuckers will sit there. Oh, she's so beautiful. I don't know why he would. Because your shit was probably blew out like a fucking flat tire. Right? Probably tried to use the fucking flicks flat. Like, get out of here. And that's what I say. Like, women look at the most superficial things and use that as a foundation for something. But yeah, the sex toy shops I talked about the other day, the rabbit things. That might have been an after Discord conversation. Might not have been on here. They got the shit that gyrates this way and then twinkles and does like all. Like, man, that's not how the shit works. That's not how it fucking works. Like, no penis works like that. I got some forward motion. I got a couple little grooves for you, but my shit is not gonna stop suspended in midair and start wiggling like a snake and doing some weird shit. You know what I'm saying? But you cannot name a thing a man does worse than most of these women say. Women have been having sex with robots for decades and then get a little upset when a man says he's gonna get him a sex robot that actually looks like a woman, that actually just does womanly things. It's not doing all kind of contorting ass, fucking weird ass shit. But yeah, y'all will get a plastic, rubbery, pseudo flesh-like device. I could go on a rampage, but I'm not even gonna go. Like I could, because I know, because I know, right? I know what women do, right? Again, I'm just saying. This is why I say I don't really be on the red pill shit no more, because I realize I have access that a lot of men don't get access to. I get to decide. I've discovered things that most of you would be disgusted to know that women engage in. Like, women are by far worse than men. But the thing is that they don't see their behaviors as bad. They think it's natural, right? Women can't be bad, so they don't apply that to themselves. Anyway, the 4 F's, possibly 5, maybe something further than that. If a woman is not giving you any one of these F's, you need to leave her alone. She's not worth your time, right? She's not worth your time at all, modern man. Because if she's not providing you any one of these things, even in the slightest, she doesn't like you. She doesn't care about you. She doesn't give a shit about your well-being. Has nothing to do with being fit, feminine, fantastical, can fly, any of that shit. That's what you want when you're looking for a wife, looking for a settle down, a romantic partner. I'm saying if you're even entertaining a woman, right? And again, we can get deep into this. First, and even this one's and none of these are 100%, right? So that's why I say sometimes you need to be more than 2 F's. But none of these are 100%. But these are something that gives you a little bit of stability in the door. If she's not doing any of these things for you, you need to leave her alone, right? First, family. But all family ain't family. So let me premise it with that, right? Because you can't pick your family. So if she's not family, or if it is family, then you should have a modicum of concern about it, right? Because this is your family, it's your bloodline. But again, if you know she's one of them motherfuckers that's always causing problems, like if you know that, oh, I don't care. It means nothing to me. Like a woman can have all the sex toys she wants to. I feel like it's a psychological. Like if you need a fucking fit, one, I have extremely large hands. Like I don't know what the hand spectrum is, but I'm sure I'm on the larger side of it, right? Probably in the upper percentile. Like my hands are big for a person even my height, right? Um, so if I have to stick my fist in a bitch, I don't, I don't want to have sex with. Her. I'm going to be disgusted. I'm going to be very disgusted, right? It's just going to be like the fisting is not one of the F's, all right? So don't worry about that. The fist is not one of the F's. I'm just saying that it would not be appealing to me, right? Like if you've gotten to the point that the only way that you can get pleasure is by sticking abnormal devices inside of you and going to town, that's a you issue. It's not a me issue, right? Not a me issue at all. Like if you, not at all, right? If that's what you got going on, man, look. Hey, okay, cool beans. But family. So if she's family, when you're dealing with a woman, that's why I said dealing. I said it's not necessarily about relationships, that it's not necessarily about marriage, it's not about love and all that, but it's just dealing with a woman and allowing her your energy, right? Your energy. She might pop up, but lady Lish would pop up, choke the shit out of her ass. No, but seriously, if she's not family, and again, you got some family that are pure drama queens, avoid them at all costs. But if you know she's family and she's good and she's that, hey, that you get a pass. That's like the default pass on the F. But again, if you know you got one of them cousins that's just bitch can't get right, hey, let her figure out her own battles, right? Look, hey, I'm sorry for you. Can't do it. I'm not going to risk my life for you. You've seen many instances where these women will tell they crash dummy cousin or brother go do some shit and be lying about it. I told you about the one chick who lied about her brother saying that the Mexican dude beat her up. She beat herself up on the way home, sent her brother to the fucking house. They got into a fucking brawl. He ended up killing the ex-boyfriend and he's doing life in jail. And she was laughing about it, telling the story. Never told him that it was a lie, never told him none of that shit. So you got 2 lives taken for some useless bitch who's never going to produce anything. So it's probably still a useless bitch because she didn't have to take any consequences for her actions, right? Whoa. I told you this is not a family thing. I don't know what you guys doing in the German and the Wiener Schnitzels and all that stuff. But that's not how we do things in America, at least not in here, maybe in Alabama. So if it's family, you can give that woman your energy, right? Because it's somebody you care about, it's part of your bloodline, whatever. The next one is a sketchy one. Like I said, it's a gray area because it's almost kind of like family, but it's hard to be careful because again, you have to choose this, right? You can't let her put you in this position and you're like, oh, I'm gonna run, because this is how a lot of niggas crash out too, right? And the bitches lie all the time, and that's what I don't get. Like, so this is what I'm saying. Like, I guarantee every woman in here knows a woman who has sent a man on a crash dummy mission and has ruined his fucking life in one way, form, or fashion. But yet y'all still defend all women. And this is what we're saying. Like, those are the women that put our lives at risk. Those are the dang. Like, if you're in a forest, you see a fucking rabbit, you're like, oh, everybody look out, it's a fucking bunny. No, but if you see like a fucking spider or a goddamn tiger or some shit, they're all animals, right? Y'all are all women, but some are much more dangerous. So my alertness, my attention is going to be on the dangerous animal. That's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to say it was a cool little bunny over there. It was nice. It was furry. I petted it. I killed it. I made a lucky rabbit's foot. But the tiger is what we're going to watch out for. But y'all will be out there talking like there's nothing but bunnies out there, and that's what we're trying to say. That's what you're trying to get. But yet, again, that dysfunction, that delusion. The second with F is friend, right? Friend. Right, and that's what I'm saying. And that's the thing, like, there is no solace for men. Anyway, we'll come back to that. A friend. You have to make her the friend, though. It can't be a situation where you were trying to pursue her. She's like, oh, but you're like a brother to me, and you're just, and put you in the friend zone. She only calls you when she needs something from you. Don't give that woman your energy. That's a no-go. But if it's a chick you were cool with, maybe y'all used to fuck around, or maybe y'all, whatever, maybe you're just not attracted to her like that, but she does kind things and she reciprocates that energy. That's okay, right? I'll post a link here in just let's say, matter of fact, I'll go ahead and get that for you. But like, yeah, if she's a friend that you decided she was a friend, not that she put you in the friend zone because you were trying to get some coochie and then it didn't work out. You know what I mean? Let me see here. White horse. Don't ride the white horse. Yeah, so you don't want to do that because again, y'all are not on the same level of friendship. If she's putting you in the friend zone again and using you, that's not the woman you want to dedicate your life. You want to cut that off immediately. I mean, like yesterday, right? Because that's why men will say men and women can't be friends, and women will say, yeah, men and women can be friends because women can use their male friends. Men don't tend to use their female friends because they're not getting the thing that they want to use them for. You know what I'm saying? No bot. The bot probably won't be rocking till Monday or Tuesday. But I did a lot to get it kind of back in order. But the bot's not rocking right now. Okay. Now, again, the friendship has to be mutual. So family, friends, those are two kind of give me Fs, right? Now here's an F I'm gonna throw in there that's not really a part of the original four. But you know what they say, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And so food. If that broad feeds you, and I'm not talking about like she goes and buys you McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about she just like, yeah, either if she's willing to feed you to a nice restaurant and she's paying, that's the thing. Women don't spend money on men. And she's paying, she likes you, right? There's a mutual there. Or she's actually cooking the food, right? Like actually cooking the food. Because that is time, that is love, that is effort that goes into cooking, right? Yeah, they don't care. And that's the thing. They're not trying to solve crimes. They're just trying to, mark somebody down for some shit. They don't give a fuck. And I'm truly sorry to hear that, Miss Meaton, because again, we can get into some stories, and none of them are going to be good. And all the women end up walking away with no consequences, no repercussions, no nothing, right? You see stories about men getting lied on for rape doing 20 years and all kind of shit, and then the women come out, it never happened. You'll see women say stupid shit like, well, it's because he didn't come on to me and I thought he would. And that's the type of that's the type of shit that goes on. That's why I say women are like delusional. You remember the dude, I talked about the story a while back. The dude stopped and helped this chick whose car broke down, right? Followed to make sure she got to where she needed to go because he didn't try to holler at her. She lied on him. Dude ended up going to prison, lost his job, wife divorced him. And then eventually, in court, she admitted that she was lying. What kind of punishment did she get? None. Because there is no consequence for a woman. There's absolutely no consequence for a woman lying. And they learn to lie from a young age, right? They learn that it works. So then they just grow up using that in their favor because they're always giving pity. That's why I say women play the game on easy difficulty. And a lot of them still struggle. And I'm not doing this to be fucked up. I'm not even saying like, there are no, a man can tell you exactly what happened. Nobody cares, right? The man says, hey, this happened to you, this happened to you. Nobody gives a fuck. Figure it out, nigga. Figure it out, nigga. Like, that's how it goes. Right, exactly. Motherfucker, we playing on all Madden over here. But it is what it is. What happens? You laugh about it and you keep pushing. You rock out and you do what you got to do. It's just a fucked up game, man. This is a fucked up game out here. So anyway, the little caveat, like the 2.5 is food. If a woman feeds you, again, and she's willing to cook for you, to take the time, put the love and the passion. I'm not talking about a bitch who heats up microwave meals for you. I'm not talking about a bitch who, hey, nigga, I brought you some chicken nuggets. Well, I done got me a quarter pounder with cheese meal. I figure you eat your little 4 piece. A woman who takes the time and effort, right, to use her skills to prepare you a meal, to use her time to prepare you a meal, to take the resources that she's earned to take you out for a nice meal. That's a woman that you give your energy. You're allowed to give your energy and effort, right? Now, the next one should be the easiest. The next one should be the easiest, right? And absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Fuck with us, man. It's good to see you, man. Again, I'm glad that you pushed through because the world is better for you being here, brother. You know what I'm saying? I know we've had plenty of good conversations, so I know the world is a better place that you still here with us, man. Don't if you ever need to talk, you know where we at. We can definitely have some conversation. Because I understand. I definitely understand. Um, the next one though the next one should be a freebie. Of all the F's, if you know Honcho and you know where I'm going in the context that I'm on right now. If you fucking that bitch already, then shit, yeah, give her your time. And look, I'm not talking about no one night stand. If it's if you got some friend with benefits type situation, I'm a firm believer, and you don't do the dating thing unless it's a chick that you already on that level with, right? Like I'm a firm believer. You can text me. I always answer the text, right? Because we'll talk about that anyway. Because I'm like, because you see what women are saying nowadays. I don't know if I might have shared it with Trill or somebody else. The women want to go on a first date with a guy. First date, one, a coffee shop date ain't good enough. You know why women don't like coffee shop dates? Because then you get to know who the fuck they are and you realize they ain't shit. You don't want a second date. So now they're trying to push men. You got to take me to the Cheesecake Factory's not good enough. You got to take me to some. If you can't spend $300 or $400 on me, which most of them can't spend on their damn selves, right? Then you ain't good enough to take me, bitch. Your mattress is on the floor. Like, what are you talking about? Get a bed frame before you start talking all this crazy shit. But anyway, so I don't think you do date things with women until you've already had physical encounters, until you already know that she likes you. That's the reciprocation. That's the reward. You take women out on a date. We've talked about foodie calls. We've talked about all that other stuff. A woman can't go out on a date for some ice cream or a little coffee date just to sit and talk and chat. Can't go to the park. Throw some bread at the ducks. Look, I'll feed the ducks. I feed the ducks all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, but because if she can't do that, that's a super red flag. That should tell you everything she's out to use you from the gate. And I don't believe in these women who are like, I ain't really like that nigga at first, but he grew on him. That means that he just did enough shit that she's like, fuck it, this guy's an asset, so I'll keep him around. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the bar is not high. The bar is not high at all. And this is why I'm saying that this about the 4Fs, right? The bar is not high at all. And part of this thing is men. They have to understand something, right? And men need to understand how the game works. What men did is that men started lusting after these fake ass, fake bodied bitches, right? Like the bad bitches don't exist. Like we them sucker niggas fuck the game up. The fucking BBL doctors fuck the game up. The contour makeup motherfuckers fuck the game up. And what happened is bitches fuck the game up because they just tell other bitches, oh, you're so beautiful. I wish I had. I'm going to find that video. I know where it's at. I know where I can get a copy. Somebody remind me to get the catfish video. There was a video of this broad, and this guy, he goes and he's like, do you think this chick is a catfish? And he'll ask people, random people in the street, does she look like, and they're always catfishes, right? And he'll ask the dude, well, what would you rate her? What would you rate her catfish picture? And then what would you rate her in real life? And it'll be a couple of dudes that'll ask women, and the women always say, she's a 10. A woman can be the biggest, lumpiest, lopsided, you know what I'm saying, just craziest looking fucking, what's the Princess Fiona looking motherfucker? And a woman will call her a 10. And the women are generally much more attractive than the women that, they're talking about. That's the problem. So the woman looks at the woman who's ugly, right? And it's okay. It's okay to be average. It's okay to be ugly. Somebody out there likes it. Or maybe just got to work a little harder, right? And you should know that. You know that you're, maybe not that cup of tea. It should inspire you to work harder, to want to do better. But when you tell everybody, oh, they're beautiful, just slap some fucking makeup on, cake up your face, and then when you wash it off, you cry in the mirror a little bit. If you tell them, hey, maybe you're not that cup of tea, that they'll work harder. I could tell y'all a story of a girl named, I'm not going to say the name, right? I'm not going to say the name, but this was in high school. This particular girl, if any of my partners ever listen to this, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This particular girl was not the most attractive chick, right? And she knew it. And she knew it. So she said that, over the summer, between junior and senior year, like she'd bust her ass to lose weight, to get in shape. Said she would be in a fucking hot garage working out, doing whatever. And we used to call her Animal, like Animal, like from the Muppet Babies, like for multiple reasons, right? And she worked diligently. And I'm not just going to say it wasn't necessarily because of her looks, but she made herself into one of the more popular girls in school, right? But she had a plan, she had determination, and she made it happen. So it had nothing to do with looks. But anyway, when somebody's aware I'm lacking here, you give them a choice. I'm either going to put in the effort to be, or I'm content where I am, and I'm gonna fuck with who fucks with me. But when you lie to people, I was, oh my God, you're amazing, you're a 10. Like, if everybody's beautiful, who's ugly, right? If everybody's beautiful, then everybody's ugly. If everybody's beautiful, then everybody's trash. You know what I mean? You literally saved the dude because of ring cam. Oh, from some. No, we'll talk about it. I'll be happy with the Cheesecake Factory. That's what I'm saying. Because that's what a woman will do. A woman, if she doesn't get her way, if she doesn't get what she wants, she'll lie with no remorse because she feels like she's owed this. Once a woman makes up in her mind she's owed something, she deserves it. That's why you see so many women now who are less than stellar in appearance, thinking that they deserve the Brad Pitts or the whoever. I don't know who's hot. I don't know who's the top nigga anymore, right? Y'all told me George Clooney was off the market. I didn't even know. I thought he was the forever bachelor. Where's Sean Connery? I don't think he's alive anymore. But anyway, whoever the top notch motherfucker. Oh, I know who y'all been talking about lately. Y'all don't even talk about more shit no more. Who the nigga? It's Mufasa. That's what y'all be talking about now. Everybody thinks she deserve everything. I seen the bitch on one of them Kendrick. No, it wasn't even Kendrick. This bitch talking crazy. The guys, they're all over 40 and out of shape. They got all their stuff together, but they're ready to settle down. But I don't really like them. I'm going out on a date tomorrow. He's kind of ugly, but like, bitch, then why are you going out on a date? Because you want a fucking foodie call. Obviously, he can do something for you that you can't do for yourself. Otherwise, you wouldn't be entertaining the date, right? And that's how those situations happen. This is why I say the things that I say. Don't entertain the company of a woman who is not into you, because that's how those things take place. So again, family, feeding, which is a kind of a jokey one because it was something that was said last night. She's not a friend and an established friend that you established as a friend, right? Because if she's put you in a friend zone, you do some other shit, you're still liable to be in a bad space. And if you're not already fucking, right? I'm not saying you fucked one time, go crazy, start spinning, don't start triggering. It'll be like, y'all have a mutual fucking agreement, right? You fuck her, she fucks you, y'all doing some fucking, y'all cool, y'all with it. Hey, I'm not really wanting more, but we work well like this. You can give that woman your energy, right? But again, you're still like, all of these are great, none of these things are 100% because there's always caveats, right? We're not going to do the not all. These are generalizations, right? We understand. But the last thing, now this one, of all the things that I'm saying, this one is, I would almost say the most sure bet. But again, none of these, absolutely. I just saw that text message. You know what I'm talking about. Absolutely. The most sure bet is finances. If she breaks bread with you, because again, the modern woman, I'm not talking about modern women. I'm not talking about the old school. I'm not talking about the old school. I'm not talking about the established. Like, I'm talking about I'm more so talking about models that were made after about 1994. They stopped making good women after 94. Like, after that, it's been downhill. The good genes stopped. Like, the women who you see be looking 60, 70, and they still look like they're in their late 30s, early 40s. Those genes don't exist anymore. The new bitches I seen a bitch who was 20. She looked like she was 42. Talking about it, she was on the pop the balloon. I'm 20. I got this. That bitch looked like she was 40 fucking too. Like, bitch, this is what getting raised up off of fucking fish nuggets and Takis gets you. These motherfuckers is burnt to shit. Like that bitch looked like she was going through some, like she had some fucking stress. Like broads made after 1994, it's few and far in between that are really genuinely attractive because they're all made up. They all worship the fake shit. They got these fucking swirly, swippity do baby hairs. It's like, when y'all start designing your hair with a fucking toothbrush? Like, when did this happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, and people get mad all they want to. It is what it is. Like, women were more attractive. Like, the grown women of the 90s, like the women who were already grown, like the movies of the 90s, like the women who could rock like short haircuts. When's the last time you saw a woman, again, after 94, born after, that could rock a short haircut and looked good? And I mean, and looked good. And what's crazy is, what is it now? If they're born in 2004, 21. 2004 is 21 years old now. When's the last time you saw somebody between 21 and 31 that looked good with a short haircut? Like, you haven't. They all wear them fucking yaki bust downs. They all wear all that other nonsense because it doesn't exist anymore, right? That natural beauty is out the window because we don't appreciate natural shit anymore. Now it's all fake. BBLs, fake titties, plump ass lips, the fake eyebrows, the fake baby hairline things, whatever's going, like the bitch with baby hair stickers. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's manipulated. There are no natural born, just, wow, she's stunning. Wow, she's amazing. After 94, that was the cutoff point. You know what I'm saying? After 94, we can argue all you want to. 94 was the cutoff point. They don't make natural bad women like that anymore, right? They just don't exist. So fucking. But again, finances. I'm already on finances. So again, finances, because the thing that a woman loves more, the modern woman loves more than anything now, is money. She'll take money over a man. She'll take money over friends. She'll take money over anything. I seen a video, was talking about the woman. They said, if you had a choice to keep $10 million for yourself or give $100 million to your man, what would you do? Of course, a woman takes $10 million for herself, right? Friend says, I would give $100 million to my man. Woman convinces the friend not to get $100 million to the man, keep the $10 million for yourself. What kind of person are you that if you're saying that you had sophisticated ignorance? Good to see you. No, it's been off and on. So, it is, it's been ups and downs. So the consistency hasn't been there, but we're getting this thing rolling back again. Always good to see you. But yeah, so it's like, what kind of person are you that you don't think that your significant other would give you 10% of their windfall? Like 10% of their windfall. Like, if I won $100 million lottery, right? Like, and you don't think that I would give you that equal amount? Like, that has to say more about you than the person you're dating, right? Because it's either mean you're making a bad choice in dating that person if you don't think that they would do that, or you're a shitty person, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, honestly, if you're with a dude and you don't think if he won a fucking $100 million lottery and y'all are together and you don't think that he would give you 10 million, like, even if he wouldn't, if you don't think that he would, then you're with the wrong dude. And that's why I say it's a you issue. But anyway, convinces the girl who originally said that she would get $100 million to her man to say, no, I would just take the 10 for myself. Women keep women in bad positions. It's not men. Women keep women in bad positions. But finances, right? So women love finance. So if a woman is willingly spending money on you as a man, willing to break bread with you as a man, you better take that as a plus, right? Because either she really likes you or she's just got a real prostitute's nature and she just can't help herself, right? All jokes aside. But this is a serious thing because she sees value in you. A woman who's willing to take money out of her pocket and she sees a value in you and wants to uplift you and wants to benefit you and wants to see you in a better place or to have more options and opportunity. That's That to me is the ultimate of all the F's, right? That's the most sure bet because women don't spend. You ask a woman, what's the thing now? They're going 50-50. What? Nigga, I wish I pay all my bills before I go 50-50 with a nigga. Hell no. Like the logic escapes. The logic escapes them, right? But here we are. So this is why I say these are my four F's, being funny about it, being facetious. But also, if we're going to take it back to the dating thing, having a father figure is important, right? It is. And I'm not saying that dad had to be there, and I'm not saying it had to be her dad. But a father figure is important because it shows if you talk to a woman and she talks positively about a man who influenced her in her life, right? And she talks in a high regard, that shows that she has respect for men. It's a lot of women that don't understand the power of a man. They don't understand what a man brings to the table. What a man brings to the table, right? What a man's ability is and what his standards should be, right? So if they didn't have a father figure that they speak highly of, fellas, you got to run. You got to be on the road. Because what you got to understand is a lot of women will have a man around just to have a man, just to have some company. Misery loves company. They'll have a man for some company and some dick, right? And so that's why I say even with the fucking, you got to be cautious. Like they want somebody to nag it to get their frustrations out on or to take the frustrations out of them, if you understand what I'm saying, right? So those are my four, actually became 6 F's. What we're going to do, I talked a little bit, well, quite a bit longer than I thought I would. I was saying 45 minutes, we went by 120. And I'm mad because it actually start? Not yet. But it started, the thing started, but the fucking stream wasn't rolling when it was supposed to. But anyway, no big deal. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up the line. Let me get make sure the line and stuff is open. And we'll take some calls. I want to know your thoughts. What are your F's? Do you agree or disagree with what I said? You know what I mean? Of the points that were made. Now go back over them. Family, feeding, finances, friends, fucking, and a father figure. These are all important things. Well, father figure doesn't just call it. That's if you're getting more serious about it, right? So let me put the numero up-o. If you smell what the rock is cooking. 713-338-9389 is the number to call into the den. And let me know if you guys are watching. Is it back horizontal mode? Because I know the other day it was a little vertical. And just want to make sure. I think somebody said it was. I'm just trying to make sure that everything's staying consistent because. But it was such a great conversation, Miss Grace. It was such a great conversation. Except for everything that Michelle was talking about. She's a terrible person. We need to make sure the Sutter home closet is locked when Michelle shows up. Yeah, because he was talking very crazy. I think Miss Bell should call because it's Bell's birthday. 713-338-9389. Right, call in. I want to hear your thoughts. Yeah, we need the bell to be rung. Where is Miss Bell at? That's what we need to be talking to. The bell hasn't rung in quite some time. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Well, what's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
It's the birthday girl.
Oh, hold on, I hear it making noise.
Mhm.
Okay, there we go. All right, cool. All right, who do we have calling in this evening? I don't know if you guys heard. I couldn't hear.
It's the birthday girl.
Birthday Bell. I hope all is well. So, what are your
thoughts?
thoughts?
It is very well.
Good. What are
I think
your? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think you're right on quite a bit of it.
Mhm.
One of the ones that was missed was foundation.
A foundation.
Yeah, because if somebody hasn't had a really good foundation and there's a lot of damage there, it doesn't make for anything really good.
Okay.
And it takes twice as long to get through it to make it actually even decent. And I can't speak for anybody else. Like we said, we were talking in general, but in my generation, we were brought up to, what's the word I want? We took cooking classes. We were taught how to keep a home. We were raised to do those sort of things. Now, I was also in an age when we worked and had the home. But The newer generation, it's so different. They want it all, but they don't have a direction on how to do it all.
So do you think that etiquette classes should be brought back? Should that be a thing that, people should reinstate, or have we gotten too far past it as a society, for things like that? Could you talk about cooking? I know that, try
Well, it's a bit of all of that. It's like, when do you say, "Hey, I'll make a home cooked meal," rather than us breaking the budget because I want to go out and don't want to cook. I mean, I've seen that with this generation across the board. It takes 2 minutes to throw something in a crock pot, or you've got all these fangled things like a microwave or whatever. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be edible and fairly nutritious.
Okay.
And young couples, to say that they'd be on a budget, that would be. I mean, unless you're making six figures, there's things that you have to do to cut corners in order to balance out the relationship. I know I've told you guys that, I mean, I was in a long-term relationship, but from the time my husband and I moved in together, we weren't married, but we behaved as though we were a married couple, and we treated each other as that way. There were things that he did for me that I hated doing. I hated taking the trash out. But, he liked that I cooked and I did other things. I made his lunch at 4 in the morning and made sure he had coffee on his way to work. And they're compromises. If you're talking about just dating somebody, that's totally different than looking to a long-term relationship. And this is something that I've been saying all the way along. A hit it and quit it is totally different than 20 years down the road. But today's society and the way people understand that, it just seems like they don't get that. You can't get from a one night stand to, 50 years of golden bliss, because it never is. It's never perfect. I mean, there's compromises on every level. Is it good or bad? It is what it is. It's a road you go down. And you are right. A lot of those four things you were talking about are absolutely terrific. But one of my biggest things is emotional functioning. And that needs to be on both sides of the fence. You can have either party come from a bad situation and not work anything out and bring that into whatever they're doing in the new thing. And that's just going to create a mess before they even get started on what they're doing together. Somebody told me this once. He's a little older than I am. He says, when you date somebody, he said, you tend to date all of them. You get their family problems, you get their whatever their current problems are. So if they're not into them, just walk away from them, or don't bother with them, because anything else leads it on. And I was like, that is really good advice. And I never really thought about it. So that's just sort of what I was thinking about the last day or so with this conversation. Got any questions?
What do you think that people expect more perfection now? And if they do, why is that?
I think part of it is people are so focused on the surface of what it looks like and not what it actually is. The lack of depth is a big issue. Like you said, one woman would say, "Oh, she's a 10," even though in her mind's actually going, "Yeah, that's a 5." But it's because we want to sometimes promote women, even though they may not deserve it. And the reality of it is that maybe they don't want that woman to feel bad about herself, because she's already feeling bad about herself. So there's a lot that plays into that. I'm horrible. I would actually say somebody was a 5 if they were a 5, but not everybody's like that.
But does that do more
We
help or does that harm more when somebody's, being dishonest with somebody about what they really think or what, about their appearance?
it's how it's handled. I mean, you got to kind of do it with. You don't have to like throw rose-colored glasses on it, but you don't need to make it so frank that you feel sucker punched either. There's a balance to it, and I think that that's part of what we're missing today is kindness in general, just being kind, but still telling the truth. Because there's something to be said for telling the truth. You don't have to ever look over your shoulder that you've not said something inappropriate or wrong. But to say it with kindness is to know that it comes with some sort of thought and not just malice. So,
So, but I mean, so in the long run, again, I saw you say that it depends on how it's being said. But what
mhm.
about the residual effects? Because what if somebody takes you, being kind about it, but they take it serious? They take it, you know, as
Well,
fact.
that's
Is that
that's
in?
the thing.
Mhm.
That's the thing. You can only be responsible for how you say it. How somebody perceives it is going to be their own responsibility. I've heard things said to me and went, "What the fuck?" And then somebody repeated it in a different way, and I went, "Okay, I can deal with that." It's how we communicate with each other, and sometimes it's tone, sometimes it's just people just don't want to hear the shit. Sometimes people get defensive because they're so insecure that they don't want to be vulnerable to know that somebody might be there being nice. You know, I find that there was a point in my life that I couldn't let anybody in because of some of the hurt that I was going through. And it wasn't completely nasty, I was just constantly defensive, but it pushes everybody else away and it doesn't allow anything good to come in either. And after that time period, and I got some smoother waters in my life, I was actually able to open up and be vulnerable. Okay. Okay. Uh huh.
So, what do you think?
Sorry. Good.
Sorry. So what do you think helps smooth those waters for you?
Decompressing over some life matters that needed to be put to bed. I'd had some things go on in my life and I couldn't take care of them until a certain time. And once that happened, it lightened the load mentally. And sometimes until people's shit is in a good place and they're not in a good place, they're not receptive to hearing anything, whether it's constructive or any kind of criticism. It bounces off like a defense wall.
So in this modern day, right? Because you talk about people kind of want more things now, not putting the work in, and everybody's kind of really kind of leave things at the drop of a hat. Who do you think takes on more risk these days in general, men or women?
I kind of think it's a toss up because it really depends on the two people coming together and what the foundation is they have. Where they're at in life is what's going to set the tone for their situation, which is as good as saying, you know, a snowflake because they're all different. And I have to be general with that because, you know, I met my husband on one whim of my life. If I meet somebody else, it's going to be at a different part of my life. And so when we meet people, we meet them at the water that we're at and at the level that we're at.
So if you were to meet someone else, do you think that the standards have changed? Is it a different level of expectation? And if the standards have changed, do you think that they're more strict or that they become a bit more lackadaisical?
I think they're very gray. I don't think that they don't exist because I know that they do exist. It's just the fact that looking at this younger generation, I see a lot of, or I hear a lot of, well, that doesn't apply to me. That doesn't apply to me. And some of it is, well, it wasn't working then. Try something new and maybe it will work. But they still keep going off in the same direction and hitting their head against the wall going, well, why doesn't things change? Well, if they're not willing to step up their game a little bit, it's not going to change. You're always going to have that person that's going to be insecure and this and that and the other thing until they decide to change. But you know yourself, you're in your what, mid-30s, early 40s at this point. Do you react to women the same way you did when you were in your 20s? It's the same
Absolutely.
thing.
Absolutely. I'm even worse now.
Right, but that's what I'm saying though, is the experiences that you brought along that road as you've gotten older, it changes how you deal with and perceive whoever's across from you. And when these kids are young and they haven't been kind of trained, I guess that's the best word to say, trained on what dating is and what proper relationships are. You know, because society and TV and all this, you know, quick hit it and this and oh, let's meet at the club or let's, you know, let's just keep it loose and not say, well, you know, I want to go steady and not have any sort of commitment because the men are trying to drag the low hanging fruit and the women are looking and saying, hey, you know, I'm looking at wedding dresses. And this is what exactly I've heard you guys talk about. And that's the kind of the crux of it is that I feel, and this is just from experience, is that men will push to get the low hanging fruit as long as they can until it's an absolute no. Whereas women, we just get tired of getting asked and not being committed to when all they're doing is playing games. So it's not necessarily the men playing games or the women playing games, it's the honesty that's not on the table. You know, you asked me, well, we were talking about this the other night, and I know I've said this before about the strippers. And we were living together when that conversation took place. And the reason that I prosed it, it wasn't the fact that I was setting him up to fail. I was setting it up to say, hey, if you do it, then I can do it. And if you're going to cheat, then your ass is gone. And yes, women do that because the fact is like you said, well, not all men want to be monogamous and, you know, have a side chick. Well, that's not how I run. And this is the rules of what this relationship is. If you want something in another relationship, that's fine. But that's where it gets gray because if you're not honest or that two people aren't honest in that conversation, it's just going to end up shit.
But do you think that women have more expectations out of men than men have out of them?
Straight women, yes.
What about the
I
lesbians?
can't, I have no idea. I'm sure that they have their own set of standards and expectations, but I don't know.
Well, I think lesbians prove the point that women have just overrated expectations. Women have the women lesbians have the highest divorce rate. So if they can't get along with each other,
Actually, gay men and lesbian women do.
no, gays have the highest. I mean, they have the lowest out of everybody.
Gay men?
Gay men do better than straight people. See,
Huh, I
the
did not
common
know that.
denominator is women. Two women, worst rate. Now, I think when it comes to abuse or domestic violence, it's different. You know, they knock down, drag out, slug it out. You don't know what happens after that. But I think when women are involved in the equation, that's when things get bad. I think women have the terrible expectations. And so I think what a lot of this is that women set these standards and these expectations of men that they have in their head, and they get upset because in reality the man either doesn't want that or it's 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 crazy. It's far fetched. But the part of that problem is that women are raised to be, you know, the pretty princess and all of that stuff. And then when they realize, hey, you're not Rapunzel, half y'all ain't even got real hair, and the rest of it that goes with it, you don't meet these factors that are required of a princess or to be treated with that level of, reward. And then you have to come down to realize that most women are average. No woman wants to deal with that. And so then,
That sounds condescending.
how
And
so?
I don't mean that.
Average?
Sorry for interrupting.
Average is condescending?
No, 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 no. To say to a woman that she may not be as pretty as she's trying to think that she is.
How is that
That
condescending, though? But I mean, it's a fact. Here's the thing.
it may be a fact, but what I'm trying to get to is that men are logically based, and women are emotionally based for the most part. It doesn't mean women can't think logical and men can't be emotional. It just means from the base start, most men think logic. Yeah, I can do this, XYZ. And women are going, 5 waves from Sunday, how do we get this done? And who's going to be affected by it? And da 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 da. As we've always said, women have 25,000 things going on in their head, and men probably have 10,000.
But
Doesn't mean they're not thinking, it's just at different rates.
so
And then men think women are manipulative when the fact is sometimes we're just trying to figure out all the odds to what's going on.
so you're saying women are better with dealing with numbers than men?
No, not necessarily. Because men's a logical argument will win over an emotional one every time.
So that's the thing, though. Why should a man acquiesce to the emotional aspect of a conversation when the logic is what's going to get things done?
Because that's the compromise of what a true relationship is. You don't get 100% or 50-50 all the time. Sometimes it's 70-30. Sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it's 90-10. It just is a balance of it. And if it works for a couple, then it does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
But that's my thing, though. If
Mm-hmm.
you know that it's illogical and you know that it's irrational and it's purely based on emotions and feelings, why would you resolve to go that route instead of the route that makes the most sense, that can be, calculated and have an understandable, feasible outcome?
Because that means there's real no intimacy. Everything's mathematized and logical, and there's no real accountability.
Also, you think that logic and accountability don't go hand in hand?
No.
Why not? I think logic and accountability go more hand in hand than emotion and accountability.
Okay, those two, yes, I agree on that factor. But what I'm saying is, if it's a complete breakdown of the logic and you're not adding the emotion into it, it's not a full fledged relationship because then it's contractual.
But I think that's
Emotional is intimacy, and that's part of what is in a creative relationship.
my thing is, but
And
again,
that's whether it's sex or whether it's conversation, whether it's just, having an intimate bonding moment with a person is part of a relationship, but it's also an emotional exchange.
what do you think brings more hazard into a relationship, being logical or being emotional?
Being emotional.
What do you think causes more infidelity in a relationship, being logical or being emotional?
I don't think that's either. I don't think either one of those quantifies under that, because men are going to say, "Well, I did what I did because I could." That's their logic. It doesn't make it. It doesn't justify the behavior.
I don't think either one of them are justified. I'm just saying what opens up the door more often than not? Is it the logic or the emotion?
Oh, the connection. If you're not connected to somebody, it's easy to mentally or physically walk away.
So what is a connection? The connection is emotion, right?
Not always. Sometimes it's contractual, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's all the above. People cheat for different reasons, whether it's men or women. Most women cheat emotionally. Most men cheat just physically to get whatever it is out of them, and women want to feel connected to something. Now, I'm saying this in general. It's not everybody, and it's not exactly any one person.
What's all of them?
Yeah. And there's times that men cheat because, and the side piece sometimes knows more than the actual wife does.
That's true.
And more often than not, women don't always get pissed off about the physical cheating. They get pissed off that the side piece knows more intimacy about the man than the woman than the wife does. That's where the insecurity comes in.
But whose fault is that? If the side piece knows more
It
about the man, it's
actually,
because
it's the
she's
man's
allowed.
choice because obviously, if the man was into what was going on in the home, there wouldn't be a need for a side piece.
But here's the time. But most time, women do not, like I mentioned earlier. So women function off of ideas, an idea of what a man is.
Mhm.
And I could show you 1,000 different things, and I could tell. I'm pretty sure every man in here, even Devontae was in here earlier talking about a thing. Women
Mhm.
are they'll paint an idea of a man, and if a man deviates slightly from that idea because they put, they live in this fantasy world. Um, that whole hopes and dreams and everything goes out the window. A man shows emotion, and I think, well, look, I've been through it. I know plenty of fellas have been through it. You try to confide in the woman you're supposed to love and do all this stuff. She looks at you differently. Now that you have emotion, you have feeling, hey, I'm dealing with some real serious shit. The person you're supposed to be able to trust and confide in. And once she shows you that you can't do that, why would you do it again? Or she tries to weaponize it against you because she's waiting for some time that she feels that either she's hurt, and it may have nothing to do with the conversation that you had prior, but she's going to try to utilize that against you because she wants you to feel the way she feels because she's emotional about it. So that's what I'm saying. Why would
Um,
a person
I
give somebody who's
I
supposed to
can't
love you that
speak
whipping?
for the women, but I can speak for the fact that I was in a relationship at one point before my
Mhm.
husband, and anything that I had said, he used it against me and threw it in my face, and it was like, I don't need to be here if you're going to feel so insecure that you need to do that. And I bounced. I was out.
But I believe this is most women because most women they can't harm you physically. So what they try to do is harm you on a level, either mentally or emotionally. And you have to be careful and confide in them because women will turn on you. A woman will wake up one day and just decide, I don't love this guy anymore, and find a reason to deviate. Now, I'm not
Men do
saying
the
it's
same
all.
thing.
No, no, no. A woman will leave. A woman and women don't leave until they have, something else. A man will stick with a woman. He might not care for her that much anymore. He may not like her in the way, but he made a commitment, so he'll tend to stick to it through the unhappiness. So he may deviate and go, get the little piece on the side, but he's going to come back home. He's still going to take care of the home. He's still going to do those things. And even legally, men are expected to do so. You do something bad. A woman can cheat on, like I said earlier, a woman can cheat on you, fuck up the whole marriage. You still have to be responsible for her well being.
I think I
Oh,
figured out the piece of the puzzle that we were both missing.
mhm,
If you're not invested in your partner,
mhm.
then you will cheat.
Well, I don't even think that's the case. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think your partner's not
If
invested
you're
in
no, no,
you,
no.
you would
If
cheat.
and from my experience, like I said, I can't really speak for anybody else, but I know specifically when I was invested in the relationship, nothing would turn my head. And when I was finally done, that was it.
But like I said, I think it's about your partner being invested in you more so than you being invested in the because you can be fully committed, you can be fully invested in a relationship, as many men are. And like I said earlier, from women I've spoke with personally, it's a lot of men who are taking care of families, that are taking care of home. They're not deviating. They're doing everything that they're asked for, but the woman just doesn't feel it. She's not getting that action or that adventure or that he's doing all the right things that you're supposed to do, but because she's not getting that adventurous side of her being fulfilled, because women need men to entertain them because women for
Okay,
some reason don't have hobbies.
what
But yeah,
what about the woman that makes sure the dinner's on the table and the kids have been fed and in bed by the time he gets home, and he walks in 2 hours late because he just felt like he could, with no phone call and no responsibility to the home?
how so?
It goes both ways.
Is he taking care of the home? Is he funding the home? Is he funding the food that's getting put on the table?
But there comes an expectation if you say you're going to be somewhere and you don't, obviously feelings are going to get hurt
Well, what if you had to work
because,
late? What if the boss said, "Hey, I need you to
well,
stay over a little bit"?
obviously, does it take 2 seconds to text somebody?
Well, I mean, a lot of places you're not
It's
allowed to
it's
have the phone in the text.
considerations both ways. Or look at the other way. The guy's a house husband and the woman's got 6 figures, and she decides not to come home. Same thing.
Well, she's a whore, obviously. Because here's the thing,
Automatically, I don't think so.
because here's the thing, 9 times out of 10, depending on what the man's working, and if he isn't doing something like that, in a lot of blue collar fields, it is not only frowned upon, but sometimes illegal to have your phone out on the work site, on the job site, depending where you are. Some of this stuff is, there. What is it? Not trade secrets, but if you get caught taking pictures, have a phone, you
Yeah,
could lose
that's
your job. Get
true.
sued.
If you work for a government site,
So
yeah.
yeah, so if he so maybe hey, we need to stay over extra. Maybe he doesn't have the ability to do so. Comes home a little bit late, right? or could have car problems or something may happen. Maybe working in a place where the signal's not strong. I don't think that just the expectation of time. Now, if it's happening consistently, that's a different thing. But it happens once, and you make a big hissy fit about it. That's a her problem. That's not a him problem.
Mm. It seems like in some ways we're both just pointing the finger at each other's situations and saying, well, this is what they do and this is what they do, when it just takes the two individuals to figure it out and what they're going to do. And being honest going into a situation and saying, hey, you know what, you're low hanging fruit. If we can be friends with benefits, I'm okay with that. And if the female allows it and the male allows it, that's great. But like I've told you before, once that connection happens, somebody catches feelings, and it's usually one or the other. More times than not, it's the female, but it's not unusual for the man to catch feelings either.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. I think it's definitely,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, but 9 times out of 10, depending on what type of man he is, men are cheating for purely physical reasons. Women are cheating emotionally because they're feeling like, again, that fantasy has disappeared. You know how many thousand you've never heard a man say, "My woman is everything I want her to be. I need something else." I've heard plenty of women who have changed men into being the guy that they went when he was bad boy in the streets doing all this stuff. They made him into the perfect house husband. He's a great father to the kids. He works. He does all that. Now I made him everything I want him to be. Now the thrill is gone. I need to go find that thrill. Women create their own problems.
Well, that's because they were taking on a project, not having a partner. That's different.
So who did that? Whose fault is that though? So they went under the
The
guise of
woman that
love
made
and
the
caring.
choice of wanting a project and not a husband.
But that's her. If she put herself in a position that she was a loving woman and wanting this man to be with her and do all of these things, and he acquiesced and he said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna change my ways. I'm gonna do the things to make you happy." And then he becomes, um, you know what I'm saying? He becomes everything that she wanted to be, and then she deviates. She deviates from the
Then
program that
she
she
had him
created.
as a project to begin with and wasn't even looking for an actual partner. That was one of the things that my husband and I talked about a lot. It's like, I'm not changing you. If this is who you are, this is who you are. Do I like some of the things he did? No. Did I love him for who he was? Yes. But the point is, if I said this is a red flag, this is a wall, if you go past this, this is it. That's not cool. Then that's where the line was drawn, and he would say something about something else, and that's where the compromise started. But the point is I knew who he was when I got together with him. As we got together and things got long term, yeah, there was some things that came in that I didn't know, but I dealt with it because you're a team at that point. And this is the thing that I see today is that the young folks, it's like it's so easy to say, I'm out of here. And yeah, it's expensive to get divorced, but what was the reason that you got together in the first place? That you actually hitched the notch. You said that you loved each other. You said that you committed to each other. You made a contract with each other. It's like, I don't get that part. I mean, again, maybe this is what makes me old fashioned and part of that last generation of shit. And I hated the fact that women were trained to cook and clean and do all these things. Yes, I can sew and I can cook and I can clean. I'm grateful for the fact that I have those skills available. But the fact that it's actually becoming a lost art.
So those are valuable skills that nobody possesses anymore. But again, those same women who hate doing those other skills, you never see them riding on the back of the garbage trucks. You never see them working in fields where
Nope.
there's not an air conditioning. Again, so it's a lot of it's a lot of interesting stuff. I got one more question for you. Then we're gonna take another
Sure.
call because I see somebody else calling in.
Absolutely.
Why are women such penis police?
Can you reframe that? Because I'm not exactly sure I understand that question.
Why? Because Heidi brought up a good point, right? And we talked about this the
Okay.
other day, even in the post stream Discord,
Okay.
that biologically men and women are not the same, and they women want to make it the same, but it doesn't work that way. Men are designed to be able to uh, procreate multiple times a day, if not a year, week, whatever. Women are designed to, at best, pop out one a year, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
10 months, 40 weeks.
yeah. So you maybe get lucky if the schedule's right. You may be able to slide you two. You catch you one in the very beginning of the year, coming off of the year prior. You may be able to get you two
Yep,
in.
Irish
But
twins.
but my thing is this: so if this is a man's nature, why are some women so against allowing a man to be in his nature? Is it because they're jealous of what that the other woman could take something away from them,
It's not
or what
jealous,
is it?
it's insecurity, and there is a difference.
Hmm.
There's a huge difference between jealousy and insecurity.
So it's
Because
more
the fact
insecurity than
is
jealousy.
once a man has a woman with another person, there's also another connection. Why do you think baby daddies and baby mamas bring up big issues with new relationships?
They weren't good enough to keep that person in the old relationship.
Well, not just that, though. It's like you're also bringing somebody else into the fold when we already have kids together from the ex's point of view. Either male or female, that doesn't have to go, that can go either way.
So if a man is doing all of the things required and going above and beyond, but just occasionally, he wants to go
Yeah,
for the chick that does that
you're
little
talking
thing he
about
likes.
a hall pass, right?
No, not even a hall pass. He's not asking for the pass. He's just going to do what he does. What's wrong with that? If he's taking care of every need that you have and he's there for you when you need an emotional shoulder to cry on, he's there for the children, he's there for everything that needs be. But there are certain things that maybe you personally aren't into, don't like, and don't want to do. And he may have a slight interest, not that he wants it all the time. Maybe some kind of interest he, wants to try. Maybe somebody that he used to be with prior to you does these things, and so but you don't want to give that to him, and he doesn't want to violate your sanctity. Well, what's wrong with him going out and deviating if he's not taking any of the resources from his home and passing it along to someone else? Everything is still yours. Everything is, under your umbrella.
I think
Um,
to women it may be an emotional cheat.
mhm.
It's it's a break in the relationship because it tells that woman that she's not good enough to give him everything that he needs.
Well, then
If
why do
he's
so
got
many
to
women
walk out and
deny the
find
man
something
what he
else.
wants, but still expect him to be there and to do that? If they're not willing to give him certain things that he
That's
does want, it's not even
part
about the gifts.
of compromise. That's part of the choice when you end up in a contract and in a relationship. There are walls, and there are things that, he asked me not to do, and I was like, okay, whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was like something I enjoyed doing, and I'm like, okay. But, then I said, well, I don't care for you doing this, and he went, okay, I'm not huge about that, but all right. And that's where the compromise comes in. You can't have it all, but you can have a good lot of most of everything. And that's where long-term relationships come from, is give and take. Now, sometimes people take and don't give, or they take without consent of the partner. And that's where it breaks the relationship.
Who do you think in general? And we're not talking about
Mhm.
specifically personally your situation or all.
Mhm.
Even we're just talking about how society looks at things. Who do you think has to do more compromising overall in a relationship, a man or a woman?
Honestly, at this day and age, I don't know, because I think that there's different compromises for different sides of the fence.
Mhm.
If a guy's working 80 hours a week, that means she's got all the child care. That means she's got all the laundry, the household. If she's got a part-time job holding down,
He's working 80
and
hours a
he
week and she's got laundry and she's not doing 80 hours worth of house cleaning. He's not even there
okay.
enough for
But
the
the
clean the
thing
house to be
is if
clean.
she's
And the kids
taking
are at
kids to
school.
after-school programs, and she's got a life too, then he comes home, puts his feet up, and doesn't want to do anything. It kind of rattles the boat. It doesn't mean that he has to make dinner every time he comes home, but there's got to be some balances.
Mm, I
And
disagree with
that's where
that.
compromise comes in. That's something I don't see with the younger society. both sides want it all, and that's where you get nothing when it becomes an all or nothing situation.
80 hours a week means a man's giving more than half of his day every day to some
Yeah.
job to make sure that his family's secure. I don't know if you know the stats, but people who tend to work like construction, turnarounds, operators in plants, feels like that, men who work, those
Mhm.
12-hour shifts, they have some of the highest divorce rates in all of, you know, job careers. And it's not because, and they teach this in school, they say
Okay.
before you get into this that you need to consider if this is what you want to do, if you're married already or if you're considering being married, because your wife's going to leave you. Why? Not
Mm.
because you're not taking care of home. You're making great money. You're able to do everything. Your kids are making great. I mean, they're treated well. You can afford to put them in daycare. You can afford to do all the things that you want to do, but because eventually she's going to get bored because women don't have hobbies, and Jody's going to be running through the back door when you come home because she's lonely and can't think of anything to do for herself. And yet you're still going to be the one that loses. You're going to have to pay all that money in alimony because she just can't figure out anything else to do. If she has the ability to be that, well, again, laundry, the washing machine's doing the work. It takes 5 minutes to throw some laundry. You do a little bit of folding,
I
maybe
agree.
15, 20 minutes. So, like when women say that, oh, being a housewife is no, it's not. You're not. If it takes you 8 hours a day, right, which is your average shift to clean your house every day, you have to be either some sort of filthy pig, or you're just half assing it. Like you're real. I mean, like you're quarter assing it. Like
Well,
they're. Hmm?
like I used to say, as being a parent, though, it's like a stay-at-home mom. I was never at home.
Hmm.
I was I had activities with the kids. I mean, they were in different programs. They had, things they had to do. I had grocery shop and I had, I mean, so just because, yeah, I could throw a load of wash in before I went to drop the kids off at school, and in between I hit the grocery store, came home, put something in the crock pot in order to switch the laundry over and start cleaning the bathroom.
But even then, right? Let's take kids after school activities.
Mhm.
Let's say they do 2 to 3 hours. I don't even think it's that long. I think there's limits on that. So, like, even if they did, that's maybe a good 14 a week. They're not practicing every day. Let's just say
Mhm.
that. The grocery store, some people go multiple times a week, maybe 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half. You shouldn't spend an hour and a half in the grocery store. Let's say an hour, right? Let's say you went every day. So that's like 21 hours. Laundry, even if you do laundry every day, shouldn't be more than a couple hours. Like that equivalent, and then the food, unless you're standing up, people baking things, depending on what you're making, let's just say 2 hours for that. Even the equivalent of all of that, and then having the ability to do it at your own pace, scheduled in your own right, doesn't equate to the man who's putting in the 80 hours. And so he has some additional expectations. And again, he's still taking care of home. He's funding the ability to do all of this. He's funding not only the wife's lifestyle, so she doesn't have to work. He's funding it for the kids to be able to participate in these after school programs, because usually there's fees and costs that go with that, you know. And he doesn't get to see the family. He doesn't get the ability to see the family that he's raising and wants to appreciate because he's working so hard. A lot of women negate that. They think that, oh, men don't want to
So
do
my
that.
question
They have to
is,
work.
does he resent that 80 hours and come home and take it on the family that he doesn't get to see?
So is he? How's he taking that on the family if he's taking care of the family? Like he may be upset about it
Financially taking care of the family doesn't mean emotionally being there or being present when you are there.
again.
I mean,
So
there are parents
there
that
is
come
mental
home after an
fatigue.
80-hour day, sit in a lazy boy
Does he not
and
deserve
have
that?
a glass of scotch and you know call themselves being a parent.
But does he not deserve that? If he's given over half his day every day of the week, and we're going by 80 hours because that's what Miss Bell said, 80 hours. And he's given over half his day. Does he not get the time to decompress? Does he not get the time to kind of gather his own thoughts? If he's been working diligently at somebody else's job, does he not get the time to say, I love and I want to see my family. I want to pet the dog too. I want to relax. I want to be able to eat in a little bit of peace and not be, you know, does he not get that? Does he not get the time to decompress
Oh,
his
I'm
mental
sure
stresses?
he would.
Mhm.
But it also depends on his. It applies to both behaviors coming into it. Her being resentful that he's not there, and him being resentful that he can't be there, doesn't help the experience in the situation either. It's that's where the compromise comes in. Is we're making the best we can because we want to raise our kids under this particular situation.
Okay. So do you think she's more resentful that if he was working so hard that he's not there all the time, or if he said, okay, I'm gonna cut back on my hours now, you need to go get a job to make up for that income? What is she gonna be more resentful about?
She may want to be out of the house part time and not have to deal with, this, that, or the other thing, and it may be something that she'd want to do. But that's the compromise in every relationship. She may say, "Hey, work your 80 hours a week. We'll do it for X, Y, Z, and we'll revisit in 6 months or a year." The thing is, it's the communication that's not following through either. Because, truthfully, I know a lot of women. I had an aunt. My uncle was a full-time cop, and she stayed home. She was stay at home until he retired. She went to work. She couldn't be at home with him while he was retired, so she went and found a part-time job. But they were married over 70 years, 65 years before he passed. Was their relationship perfect? No. But there's compromises in everything, and it's the communication that's the biggest part. If you don't talk, you don't know.
Who values communication more, men or women?
I would say it's needed on both sides, but women crave it and men need it as a tool to figure out how to make a logical decision. Because if you don't have the information, you don't know what the fuck to do.
Okay. All right. Well, Ms. Bell, I have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. It's been quite a while, and I know I said there was another call coming in, but it's Belle's birthday, so she gets
Absolutely.
a pass.
Thank you for my birthday present.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. So I thank you. The bell has rung, and
Woohoo!
enjoy the rest of your birthday, Miss Bell. I thank you for calling this evening.
Well, we're already into the 28th, so it's done. All right. Good night, Honcho.
Shout out to Miss Bell. So the noise was somebody else was calling in, and I know we do call and I feel bad. My apologies to the caller who was calling in, but it's been a while, and yeah, it's just the conversation was getting into. I had to get some thoughts in, but you know what? Why the fuck not? We'll take it. We'll take one last call. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Ricky motherfucking D in the place to be.
Ricky motherfucking D, man. How are you doing, Sir Ricky D?
I'm doing great, man. Good to hear you. Good to see you, man. I hope everything's going good with you.
Yes, excellent. Everything is excellent. Life is very good, Mr. Ricky.
Awesome.
So what's on your mind this evening about tonight's topic?
Man, to be honest with you, I'm over here doing what I do, shining some shoes still. And I was just turned it on. I was like, oh, that's right. The den's on. So I clicked it on, and next thing you know, I'm hearing y'all talking about, why people cheat and stuff like that. So thought I'd chime in a little bit.
Okay, talk to me. What's on your mind about why people cheat and people deviate in relationships?
I think if I'm divorced, so I've had that happen to me. So I think a lot of times too, it just comes down to people being, well, here's something that I thought of. That I'm Catholic and everything, right? So when I got divorced, the Catholic Church doesn't recognize your next marriage until you get what's called an annulment. And that was at first I was very against that because of course it's a long process and whatnot, and I really didn't know too much about it. Of course, it was my first time being married, first time being divorced. But through the process, basically, when you sit down and you're getting counsel from this priest, you're going over there thinking like, oh yeah, he's automatically going to side with me because I'm going to tell him what happened and whatnot. But then a lot of times the tables start turning, because, well, hold on, what were you not doing in the marriage, or what were you not doing in your relationship? And it starts to tell you at first, you think, well, it wasn't me. They're the ones that did that, right? But I think even the prior caller said something about showing investment into the relationship. So I think what ends up happening is people like you think, oh well, I'm doing everything right. I come home straight home from work. I do this, do that, but then you don't take care of something else. You don't I don't know, take charge when it comes time to handling bills or just totally helping out with the kids or whatnot. I think there's a lot of selfishness that goes into that because really the truth is that marriage, whether people want to admit it or not, it's a ton of sacrifice. It's sacrifice all over the place, and it's sacrifice, and it's not just a sacrifice of, oh well, I'm going to do this for you. It really is a situation where you have to tell yourself, um, not it's not about me. It's about it's about who I'm supporting. It's about who I'm protecting. As a man, you have to show those type of things. Um, and then I think on the other end, people that they get together for the wrong reasons sometimes too. It's a matter of they get together because oh they were so in love and um it looks great to be married and whatnot, and then you find out you really didn't want to be married at all. um and when I say sacrifice too, it's sacrifice away from each other too. Like, you have to go with the mindset, like when you go to work, you got to go with the mindset of, I'm doing this because I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my spouse. And, you know, um, I think also too, you have to check your feelings as well too, because sometimes your feelings can get in the way of what you're actually communicating with your partner. Hey, I didn't like it when you did this, or hey, I didn't like it when you did that. Instead, you hold that back, and in turns, then it becomes resentment, and resentment leads to a lot of other things too. And um, like of course, when you get married the second time around, you tend to go, I'm not going to allow this, and I'm not going to go for that, and I'm not going to do that. And, this person needs to check off all these boxes and whatnot. And maybe they do. But then you also have to remind yourself to say, well, it's like when it's like when those dishes are in the sink and it's like four or five of them. It's not a whole lot of them, and you just got to turn around and say, you know what, I'm gonna do this not because I want her to see, oh, look at what I do, but more of a thing to say, I appreciate you. And I think too, man, people don't say I'm sorry in the relationship, then it's bound to fail, man. You got to say sorry.
Must be some give and take. It's just certain
I
things.
just threw a lot at y'all, didn't
Yeah.
I?
Certain things again, and I think it's looking at it from a man's perspective, because women have different needs than men, and men can. I feel like with some of these things that like you said, you have to, it's kind of a give and take that you kind of have to, I won't say submit to, but you have to give into to make it successful, to make the union successful. I think those are things, especially as a man who's when you're single, these are things you don't even consider, you never think about that. It,
Oh,
but these are things that are on women's minds. These are the thoughts that they process in a different way, and it can be. I can see it being a very difficult task, but I understand.
yeah. One football Sunday is huge in my house, right? I mean, of course, you know that, but there's a certain level of appreciation that you have because, say, for example, my wife is down for me to be at the house watching football on Sunday. So down that she'll even like make me snacks and she'll do the wife things, right? But she always tells people, well, I'd much rather him be at home watching this football than being out, what doing whatnot or whatever. So I have to remember on my side too, is like, man, that's a good life, right? Like that's kind of cool. I get to enjoy that, and not that I come to expect it, But I think it's just a thing that's how my wife likes to show her appreciation for me, and then likewise I show it back for, hey, when she finally was like, hey, I need you to get up and do this, it's like you got to get up and do it. You know what I mean? So it's like a little bit of, when she said it's 70-30, 60-40, or not always 50-50, it's very true. But you also have to look at it and say, I'm just looking at it in terms of which is the lesser suffering, saying no to somebody else, or you know disappointing the person that is always there for you and always by your side. But it also takes a lot of, I guess, too, then, like I said, it's just about whether or not you want to admit that, me not doing this is selfish of me, or me doing this is not selfish of me, or something. It's just you got to put in an effort. It's a total sacrifice all the time. And I think when people think about getting married, they think, oh, well, we're just going to get along, or we're going to, everything's going to happen. But the truth is that even when you're married, things start changing a little bit. You sometimes you get older. You get older and you're not as active. You don't want to do a whole lot of stuff anymore like you used to, or whatnot. But you have to be able to adapt to those things. And I don't know. I think I'm more talking about what marriage is more than I am talking about why people cheat. But I think when you get married young, especially, and I think like our kind of like our parents and stuff, they kind of dealt with all of this, but man, it's like at an all-time high now because of the accessibility people have with each other too, man. Like if you go and you look at like I always look at my parents, they do almost everything together, man. They really do. Like, and it's their world is about them too. And I think, they, there's just so much now that people just tend to, they got so much accessibility to each other that it's not just about their household anymore.
I think that's the problem. That, like you said, too much access. The internet makes things too convenient. It made it too easy to do, even if you entertaining something with no intention, initially, or
Right.
what may be harmless, it can quickly turn into something devious. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
I just think about
So
like,
again, it's always a matter of sacrifice. Like it's always a matter of, and I think when we say why people cheat, I think we should say how, you know, um, you how it happens. It happens a lot of times. Um, Going back to my point with the whole annulment thing, there were things that I realized because, of course, back then I had like a little bit of a music career going along. I was getting my shoe shine business together, and those things were very important to me. And I felt like and I started realizing that maybe I was putting more into that than I was putting in the work into my marriage. That's not an excuse for what happened, but it's a matter of, like the previous caller said, showing more investment, you know, and so then things got kind of crazy, and things happen because of course there's not enough attention. It's like a plant, man. You don't water the plant, you don't give it the sunlight, you don't give it, it's not going to grow. Something's going to die. And marriage is like a life, man. You gotta keep it nourished. You gotta you know uh, exercise it. You gotta work at it. It's not people think that it's like, oh man, we love each other and we're just yeah, we argue, but yeah, we still love each other. No, it's sometimes it's harsh realities. Me and my wife, sometimes we tell each other stuff that maybe we don't really want to say, but it needs to be said. And that's the other thing, man, is learning to humble yourself to say, man, that she's right. She's right about that. I don't do that, or I do that. Because on the very end of all of that too, what's always cool for me is, I don't know, like say we're like at a family gathering and then something happens where it kind of shows like I did something. My wife will be like, "My man worked on that for so long, and he did that with his own hands, and he did that," and she'll brag on it, and it feels good. But I think she has that because she has that respect for me, and we have that, and I have that respect for her. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good thing to have. You know, I don't think you see a lot of that these days, but I definitely like how you put it. That's just much like a plant. You have to water it. You have to nourish it. You know, and that's a very good analogy.
It's not a. I would like to say that it's easy because I feel like me and my wife have this really great relationship, but it's not always easy. I mean, like I said, um, you, in public, you'll see my wife, man. She'll be cheering me on and stuff, and then come back to the house, and later on, I don't do something. I forget to hang something up, or I forget to put my shoes up somewhere or something, and now I'm just that dude that's getting on her nerves. But it's it's a it's a vice versa thing, man. I mean, it is, and she's great. I'll never say anything bad about her. That was the other thing too that I was noticing. A lot of those couples, when that happens, where cheating and stuff like that, I notice, man, like people say things like in public about each other to other people. And I always think to myself, man, that's a bad thing, man, because uh, in when you're divorced, you can compare and contrast to your prior one. My prior one would never really say something to the effect of like, "Hey, man, that shirt looks great on you,"
Mm,
right?
mm,
Now, in this marriage, now this one's, she'll be like, "Ooh, I like when you wear that because it looks right on you. It's form fit, man. It matches your skin, and oh man, it looks good on you. Or you're so handsome. You'll hear those things, and I think that's another thing, man. People have to know how to like say these things, these affirmative words, man. Affirmative words go a long way in a relationship. I really feel that way, and I think why or how or people cheat is because things like that don't get said in the household. I mean, they just don't get said. It's real hard to, like, whenever I feel like I disappoint my wife, it hurts the hell out of me, man, because uh she's so affirmative with me. And when it's like something that she's like, "Oh man, I don't appreciate this," right? Then it's like, "Dang, man, it hurts." So I think that's that part where the previous caller was talking about being invested in it emotionally, and I think as men sometimes we won't we won't look at it like that, but we sure will get emotionally invested into them Houston Texans when they
look.
when they when they ain't scoring in the fourth quarter. We'll get mad. We'll almost want to cry. So I think too they got to see those things. Okay, you know, all kinds of stuff like that, man. But again, it's a work, and it's a labor of love, man, because you got to want to do that. And when there's people that don't want to, then that's when all that's gonna happen, man.
So, do you think that
I,
the experience from the first one, even though it didn't work out in the favor that you would have liked, because nobody wants these type of things to not work out. But do you think it kind of prepared you to be better in your second go round?
oh yeah, man. Because like I said, after I did that annulment process, because eventually, me and my wife, we at the time, we were dating, and I wanted to get married, and I wanted to get married in the church again, and I had to go through that process. Well, if I really love her, right, I'll go through that process so that I can get married with her again, and in our faith, and so I went through that, and again, it was just an eye opener for me, because then it allowed me to say, man, I also have to forgive that other marriage. I got to forgive my ex as well too, because I can't bring all that baggage, because that's another thing I think happens. People bring in baggage into that marriage, and I'm not going to bring that in there. So I had to work on that. And by doing so, I think that allowed me to understand where to humble myself, and to allow myself to say, well, no, this is something that I'm not going to do in the next marriage as well. And same for her too. And it really did help, because um, you just remember to say things. You remember to do things. You remember to say, like I said, you remember to go to just say, hey, come here and hug somebody, to hug each other. Things like that happen. But you also remember to say, you know what, I'm going to talk to her about that. Not before I go mouthing off. Let me find out let me see what's up with me first. Like, wait, where am I not right on this? Or do I have the right to say something about this or whatnot? And you learn to kind of talk about stuff a little bit better too, I think. I'm a firm believer. There's a scripture that says that God, it's Romans 8:28 for everybody who wants to check it out. It says that God works for the good in all things for those who love him. And I really believe in that. And I believe something that my wife says about that, because she came from a divorce relationship as well too. And she says to people, I would do it. I hate going through a divorce. I hate the fact that I got divorced, but I would do it all over again if it meant that I ended up with Ricky again. And that's how I feel too. I would do it all over again if it meant that I got to be back with her. And I think that's something is, I think that's something that people need to know, because I think when something like that happens to you, you always want to know why. You start to blame yourself, all this, but there's somebody for you, man. There's somebody out there, and it's just, it's, man, that love word is gonna get you, right? KRS-One said it, but it's 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 something that it sucks, man. It sucks when that happens. It really does. It sucks, but it sucks too when it's like uh, divorce is bad too, man. It's not everybody. It can be a big lie as well too, man. That's the other thing too. That's why I would always tell people, man. I talk to young dudes all the time. I see dudes that they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and I'm like, you don't want this life, man. You don't want this life. Trust me. Child support's a motherfucker.
I don't envy it. I don't envy it at all. I've heard so many
Oh,
stories and seen so many things. Man, I do not envy anyone in that situation. Matter of fact, I pray for them.
yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, it's I actually have like a group that I talk to with men that are divorced, because a lot of times and it's crazy, because a lot of times you'll get everybody, well, she cheated on me, and then you find out that a couple of guys that are in there are the ones that did the cheating, and it's an eye opener for some of those guys, because they get to see how it happens, and they're hearing it from a man's perspective of what was going on. And a few times I've gotten we because we share divorce stories. Sometimes guys that are thinking about going through a divorce, they'll reconcile with their wife or whatever, so that they don't have to go through that. Because there's a lot of stuff you don't think about whenever you have to go through a divorce. There's a lot of things that you start realizing, like even me, like right now, I'm thinking like, man, if I ever become a grandfather, I got to be sharing grandkids, and those are my grandkids. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't realize that that's a thing that eventually is going to happen. And crazy stuff like that, man.
Yeah. Man, that's yeah, man, stage. Yeah, because it doesn't seem like a good time for anybody. I've witnessed, a few people going through those things up close and personal. So it's definitely not something I would want to
It's
record.
not it's not like Hollywood, man, like on the movies where they're all getting together and they're like, yeah, no, he came over for the party, and dad came over for the party. But no, 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 it's not like that. You go up in that party, it's a lot of tension.
Oh yeah,
And you're like, I'm just here for the kids, I'm just here for the kids.
yeah. And I've seen some things. It gets it's crazy all around. So you definitely don't want to be in a situation where you got to deal with anything like that. Um, but yeah,
And don't get me wrong, me and my ex, we actually have a pretty decent, like, divorce. Like, it's not like we're sitting there, tit for tatting or anything like that. But it's crazy. So any men out there that are listening and think they're cheating on, they'll think about it again, man. Or ladies, if you're cheating, think about it again, because you don't want this life.
think about that life. Oh, definitely, definitely. Okay, all right. Well, Mr. Ricky D, it is very good to talk to you. We gonna. I've been telling everybody I'm gonna have some sauce. So I got everything lined up earlier today. So hopefully
Oh,
I'm gonna drop a recording at
um,
least before I get back into the lives. But we're gonna have some
yeah.
soon. I'm gonna be looking forward to talking to a few people.
Oh,
A
yeah.
couple.
There was some characters that never got to get displayed, man.
Oh man.
Uh,
Yeah.
and there's one that I think you're gonna like, and yeah.
And super funny. A
Uh,
couple of those characters actually came to fruition. It's super funny, but they became
bro,
real life
it almost
characters.
scary.
Yeah. So that was very wild. But yeah, I'm
Oh
definitely
man.
looking forward to that. But yeah, well, I'm getting ready to wrap it up, and but it was good to actually hear from you, man. And it's I'm glad that you could share your perspective with us. And it's always that's what I like about talking to you because you always got a very reasonable, balanced perspective. You know what I'm saying? It's never too much this way or the other. It's always based on fact and generally experience. So I definitely appreciate you sharing with us this evening.
Well, I'm the shoe shiner, man. I hear it all, man. So and I share it all too. So it's these are normal conversations when you're on the stand, man. So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, no, for real. Like I'll have conversations like this all the time with people when they come up on the stand. They sit up, they put their feet up there, and I start signing, and then we start talking about life, man. And it's amazing how people will open up to me, but also it's even better that they'll listen. They'll they'll open up to me, and then I'll open up to things that they got to say too, because I learn a lot that way. Um, but yeah, man, it's just for everybody out there listening right now, man. If you're thinking of that, going through any of this or whatever, I'm just let you know you're not the only one that any of this has ever happened to. It's I know it's a lonely feeling, but the good news is that you can rebound from it, and the better news is that you can find somebody that actually does love you. Just do your best to also focus on yourself and whatnot, and continue to listen to the Den to the Den show, man, because there's a lot of cool stuff that gets said on here a lot of times, man. Sometimes I'm just listening and I'm laughing, man. But today I thought I was like, nah, let me share a little something.
It was a very interesting conversation. All right, well, that's a bit. Well, like I said, Mr. Rick, man, it's good talking to you, and I look forward to hearing from you very soon. And I hope all is well. I hope everything is good with the family and the business. And we'll chop it up real soon, man.
All right, man. Be cool.
All right, you too. Have a good evening.
Later.
So I know I went a little bit longer than usual. We're gonna wrap it up on that one. I got a couple of things I gotta do. I gotta actually get up and do work today. Tomorrow. I gotta fucking yeah. I gotta continue. I gotta learn. I still got some tinkering to do with this thing. Learn how to use it properly. But I thank y'all for joining this evening. Shout out to Texas Apache. Good to see you. Shout out to everybody who slid through. Miss Meat, full of shit. When that phone line opened up, she disappeared because I was gonna get on that ass. But shout out to Miss Bell. Birthday Bell was not your birthday anymore where you're at. Still got 30 minutes out here in the great state of Texas. But I appreciate all of you for tuning in this evening. And I look forward to talking to you tomorrow. We're gonna probably get a little it's been a while since we had a talking dirty after. We'll probably get a little raucous tomorrow and have some off the wall conversation. I got a couple of things we could talk about. But yeah. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. But with that being said, I'm going to call it a wrap. I thank y'all. I'm not jumping into Discord this evening. I'm not jumping into voice chat this evening. I'm tired. I'm not going to lie. My sleep schedule's been off the last couple of nights fucking with y'all. And then I don't be being productive like I need to be. I'm trying to get well rested so I can get the sauce together for the sauce folks and make sure everything is well here because I got a couple other things that I want to do. And Trill said something earlier. I ain't I ain't get to do it. But it's all great. Oh, what does that play on there? I gotta figure that out too. Okay. Well, anywho, with that being said, like I said, I appreciate y'all. I'm calling it a wrap. It is Honcho's bedtime. Y'all stay safe. I'll be looking forward to talking to y'all very soon. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Oh, that's what it was. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. But most of all, y'all ain't got to go home. But you do got to get your ass up out of here tomorrow. Tomorrow, we've been going about 9. I'm gonna try to shoot for 8 tomorrow. So that way, if we do go a little bit longer, it's not as late. I'm gonna shoot for 8 tomorrow. But we'll see. With that being said, I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for being here. Adios. Good night. Y'all be cool.